Don't struggle because they're bad. They struggle because they were never set up for success. When I look at an author's book, I'm looking very specifically at three things on their Amazon listing. When I start with these things, I can tell you exactly whether your book will be found, whether it'll be trusted, and whether or not it's going to be bought. And once you see them, you're going to know too. Hi, my name's Steve Kidd. I am a third generation minister, international best-selling author of 40 books and counting. Over the course of the last 20 years working with authors and the last 40 years as a marketing company, we've had the amazing privilege of working with over 5,000 authors, helping them everywhere in the process, from writing to publishing, marketing their books to bestseller, and everything that goes beyond that. I've had the joy of working with brand new startup companies, stay at home moms, multi billionaires, doctors, lawyers, nurses, our wonderful military veterans. So many incredible people who have taken the time to share their message, share their story, and do the things in this world that they're meant to do, to be the light, the hope, the promise, the peace that they're meant to be. And once you put that book out there, let's just be real for a second. Once you put that book out there, it needs to be seen. It doesn't do anybody any good sitting on your desk. I've got a copy of my book, and it's sitting right here. It came in. I love it. Bestsellers only the beginning. There's a little picture of me, picture of a book, all those kind of things. I've got other books here on my desk, like like Willie and I's book that we did that's called Magnetized Media. I even actually have the original 1.0 version of Bestsellers Only the Beginning. I've got those sitting right here on my desk. But you know what? These books sitting here on my desk, they don't do you any good. I have them here because, I like to show them to you on video, because I realized, when I was being interviewed and stuff like that, that I didn't have my book with me. But those are really kind of vanity kind of things. It's kind of like when you look at your, your Facebook or your YouTube or what have you, and you see that you got a ton of likes. Those are vanity metrics. What you really want is people that have read your book, people that have liked it so much they came back in and they gave it reviews. But the thing about it is that your book sitting here on your desk, your book being out there and available, and totally cool and all those things on Amazon, it doesn't do you or anybody any good until you share it with the world. When you begin to share your book, people begin to actually get the help that they need out of it, get the things that are the reasons why you wrote that book. And that's why anytime an author gets in my sphere, I'll just tell you honestly, love Sam. We're glad to have you here. Appreciate it. One of the things, if they tell me they have a book, one of the things that I do, I ask them, hey, would you be interested in some comments on it? I am real. I'm real, right? Totally me, not an AI. Hate to break it to you. Sorry, I'm not AI. I apologize for not being AI. No, what I mean? And I will go through their book. And the first thing I do is I bring it up on Amazon. Why? Amazon's selling about 90 to 95% of all books that are being sold in the world. Most people are either going to buy the book directly from Amazon, or they're going to refer to Amazon when they hear that the person has a book. If somebody is wanting to hire you for a whatever, and they find out that you have a book, they're going to go and they're going to check it out. Reaper, glad to have you here with us. And after they check you out, then they're going to come back. Then they either see that you do have the credentials, you do have the experience, you do have the background. I'm totally guilty of this. I've spent literally decades promoting everybody else's stuff and never promoting mine. And I got looking at my stuff, and if you look at, out of the 40 books, There isn't, well, there's more than now because I have one book that has almost 70 reviews all by itself. But, for the longest time, there wasn't a total of one review per book between them. Now what that actually meant is I had one book that had about 20 reviews, and about 10 others spread across all the rest of them. Um, and hey, Seal, glad to have you here with us. Um, and so I started doing exactly what I'm teaching you here to do. And that's you got to make your book available. But before I had done that, the books were still having some success. I don't have a copy of it here on my desk, but you can look up Experience Twilight. It's the first book. My ex-wife actually wrote it back when we were married. And I helped put it all together, put it out, publish the book, those kind of things. And it at one point was the best-selling movie-related travel guide on Amazon. It was very highly in demand, and it still sells, maybe one or two copies a month. It was written in 2008. Not bad for 18 years later, right? But without the promotion, the only thing that's left then is how do you set up the book? So you have the starting point. You have the book done. And then you go in and you set it up right on Amazon. Amazon is a search engine. Now, I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to tell you straight up, three things that are absolutely going to make the night and day difference. The number one, description. Number two, categories. Number three, keywords. Okay? When you're setting up your book. And it doesn't matter whether you're doing it, your publisher's doing it, it doesn't matter who does it. If they're not set up properly, Amazon ultimately is a search engine. It's based on the same central kernel, which is what you call it in programming, that is called relevancy and content. Okay, relevancy and response. And that is what allowed Google to take over the world of search engines. Prior to that, you had Alta Vista and Yahoo and blah, blah, blah. And, that was pretty much basically who had the most money to spam those systems to get your stuff to show up highest. Amazon, or rather Google, came in and said, no, we want, if you're searching for this, to get the relevant results to that. Amazon is using that same basic programming language to get that. When you search for something on Amazon, they want you to find the relevant product to what you're searching for. So you got to get your SEO, search engine optimization, set up right on Amazon. Starts with your description. Okay, now you can come up with a really whiz-banging cool name for your book. Truth of the matter is if you're struggling with what to name your book, what are people searching for? What are the search words that the reader would use? That's really, the words that you should use in the title. Most of the time, we already have this title we want to use for our book. And I'm totally guilty of it too. So, normally I skip over what is the title or subtitle of the book. And I go straight to, now if I'm working with the person and I'm helping them, create the book, then absolutely we're going to talk about that. What's the title? And if you got this whiz-banging cool title, what is the subtitle that makes sure people know what that's about? Absolutely. But then we go to the description. The first about 60 characters of a description, Amazon keys off of it. It looks at those to go, where should I place this book? What searches should this book come up in? If you're looking for a book on XYZ, this is the book for it. It should address that question. Then second, you've got the categories. What category, first of all, should your book be in, but also, does it really relate to? Most of the time, myself included, when we put out our first book, we put it in self-help because after all, we wrote it to help somebody. And so therefore it must be self-help, right? Almost never. I mean, just about everybody puts their books in there. There's a ton of books in that section. And you're fighting against the Oprahs and the Tony Robbinses and people like that who have the multi-million people following to get their books on those lists. But for the normal ones of us, we're really actually writing a book that is about personal development, about self-improvement. It's a life testimonial. It might even be, something spiritual. If you're a Christian, if you're Islamic, if you're Buddhist, whatever, those are even more specific categories. And then you can go into those subcategories and you can look at, is this something that's for professional growth, or is this something that's more about women's Christian living? Totally, both in that same Christian living section, but also totally different categories. So the categories matter. And then your keywords. Are you using keywords that are based off of the searches that people are doing? Or are you using keywords that sound good to you? Are you using your words? Or are you using your clients' words? Now, with my clients, I go deeper and I help them understand that why. And I'd love to absolutely, absolutely go in and help you. And I'd love to meet with you and talk to you about what do you got going on right now? What are the things that you have right? What are the things you have wrong? And how could those be fixed? I'm more than glad to give you that information and let you walk away with it. Because as my book that I showed you says, bestsellers only the beginning. You do it right, you should be able to launch a book, and within the course of the first 3 to 5 days, your book should make it on the bestseller list. If you have the right promotion behind it, you can make it to number one. You can even make it internationally, meaning in more than one country. Absolutely. Those are totally doable things. All right. But then what are you doing ongoingly? After you've got your book set up right, how are you promoting it? Books aren't magic. The algorithm that we did all this SEO that I was just talking about for doesn't just magically, intuitively know this person would really get a lot of help out of this book. No, we have to promote it. We have to market it. Marketing is the heart and soul and corner of everything you're going to do in this world. And you absolutely want to show up and market your stuff. It doesn't have to be expensive. You could spend $200. You could spend $200,000. I've got programs all the way in between all of those. Starts off, let's have that conversation. Drop your book, literally drop the book link in the comments right here below. I will give you a little bit of feedback at the beginning right here. More importantly, I'm going to suggest to you, hey, let's get together. Let's talk. Totally for free. I want to give you some help and advice. And then if beyond that, it makes sense for you, I would love to promote your book, to get you reviews. Not, some kind of scammy paid reviews thing, but where my crew and I actually literally physically go out and find human beings who will buy your book, read your book, and review your book. And we do all that finding and following up for you. Absolutely. Human-led, human-driven kind of a situation. We want to do that for you. We're looking forward to seeing you and your book succeed even beyond your own imaginations, far beyond everything you thought was possible, to the place of all the things you dreamed that it was going to be. When you put together those elements that create visibility with a promotion, that's then when you get to win. Because often it's real easy to feel like our book is broken, but your book isn't broken. It's just waiting for the support system and the setup to be able to do what it's always meant to do. And when your book is positioned clearly, your readers will find it. The readers don't need you to convince them. They just simply need to find you. Let's help them find you today. Again, drop a comment below with your book link. I would love to talk to you. I'll look at it. And anything I can do to help, I'm glad to be here for you. I so appreciate you. I hope you're happy, safe, warm, and loved. And until we're together again next time, you have an amazingly great week.